Lisa. I have a summer-themed page today. These two photos were taken on Hilton Head Island, and that's an alligator, and it's taken from a long way off and zoomed in and then cropped, and so he's not in real good detail, but you could still make him out. This is definitely as close as I wanted to get to him. And then, of course, they have lots of signs about not feeding the wildlife. So we see them a fair amount when you're down there bicycling around, and a lady stopped us, and I thought she was going to tell us to get out of this particular development we were in, and she just wanted to point out the crocodiles. So everybody stops and looks, and that's what going to be my title is Stop and Look. And I want to do a stop sign, but I don't think I want to do it in red, because everything on Hilton Head is very, it's all about keeping the certain look, and especially green. Everything, when you step off the beach, it's all green. So all the signs are green and things. So I'm going to do some kind of stop sign. I still haven't quite decided whether I'm going to do a die cut or some stenciling or whatever, but something up here with stop, and then down here at the bottom I want to put a bicycle on, and I thought that would be really cute to use the spokes for the O and look, but I have picked out a really detailed bicycle image on the silhouette, so I don't know, we're gonna see how that goes. I may cut it and play with it and then decide I need something simpler, but we'll just see how it looks. Some papers from My Mind's Eye. This was, oh gosh, at least a year-old collection, the collectible collection. It may be a year and a half, but I really wanted to use the screen paper. I've had this out several times, and it does match these photos. And then I've got some other good colors and a wood grain to go right back here. So I think the first thing I want to do is cut out my bicycle, and I show this on a video for my newsletter, where sometimes I take the cover off of pieces of chipboard, and then I may paint on them or whatever. On this one, I'm not sure I'm going to do anything with it. I may just leave it white, because this particular chipboard goes all the way through in white, and I had already done the K in that video as an illustration, just happened to have done that letter. So I'm going to do an L. You have to be careful as you do this, because you don't want to cut yourself. This one is being particularly stubborn. There we go. Okay. So that's a way to get rid of some old chipboard. This stuff is more than 10 years old that I've had, and I very seldom want that particular cover, but I can pull it off and still get some good letters there. And I want an ampersand here that I'll either die cut or use some more chipboard. So here is my bicycle that I cut on the silhouette, and one of the cut files, you know, when you put these on the silhouette and they're all split up into little pieces, it's kind of hard for me sometimes to figure out what goes with what. One of the pieces was like the whole bicycle in a shadow, and I cut that out thinking that I might use that as a base, especially cutting it in white so it would look good with those letters there. But then I realized once I got it cut that it had the bicycle basket and all the detail, including this little banner thing that I wasn't planning to use. So I ended up not using that at all, but putting together the rest of the bike. I cut the main part of the bike in silver, so the spokes would be in silver and some of the pieces that would normally fall into silver. However, the tires really should be black. So I found a marker. This is Faber-Castell Pit brush marker. It's a permanent marker, so once it dries, and it's going to take just a few seconds to dry on this metallic paper. This is from Stamping Up. They're silver metallic. They have silver and gold, and I love these. They're cardstock weights, and they cut just like cardstock, but they have a beautiful finish to them. And I'm going to actually end up doing 2 coats of the dark gray. I didn't have a black marker, and that gets the tires without having to recut this thing again. So I have my stop cut, and I'm not real sure about this. I don't know if I like it in just that outline, if I'd rather do the middle and drop the outside. I'm kind of all along wondered if maybe I just wanted to do this as a stencil. So I'm going to take my papers, I think, here and adhere them down temporarily and then use them as a stencil with some paint. If I use paint, even craft paint, it's opaque, but it's not completely opaque. If I just do one coat of it, you'll still be able to see some of the green or some of the pattern from the green underneath there, so it won't be quite as dominant as that solid white paint or solid white paper would be. So I'm using white craft paint and a stiff bristle brush to apply this to the space between these two layers. And this is giving me a nice crisp finish because the paint's good and thick. As long as you don't use a real thin paint, it won't go underneath your papers and you'll get a nice finished things. And I could go over this a second time if I really wanted it to coat good, but I want it to show up white but not be overdone. So I want to be able to see a little bit of that pattern underneath. So now we're getting closer, I think, to what I need. Except as I start to lay things out here, I do need some more color on the page. I know I'm going to use that wood grain piece to go as a strip behind all of the photos in the journaling block. And I'll mark where I'll need to trim that down. The word stop I thought needed some dimension, so I added some light gray letters behind it. I cut them out of the same size, just recut stop in the gray, and they'll just lay that over the top to give it just a little shadow. And I've got a couple of other papers here to put on the bottom, and we'll start to bring this thing together. It still, though, needs a little bit more to connect it. I have some washi tape. I have some stickers that I could use and some other papers. I'm thinking that behind the word stop, it does need a little bit more of a stop sign look, not just that outline. But again, I don't really want it in red, so I thought I might do some green and do kind of a tone on tone there. Although in this paper pad that goes with this collection, the rest of the greens are pretty dark. So we're going to have to see how those look. I also have a yellow. It's not either. None of these are colors you would think of for stop signs, but again, this is Hilton Head. They don't do the red. This is the only red roof inn I understand in the country that doesn't have a red roof, because they don't let you put just any color out there. So you can have a little more creative license. So I decided to do 2 layers of green, and I'm going to cut those in the hexagon shape. And I've done that, and I glued stop on, and you'll see I glued it way over to the right. I don't know why I didn't center the word stop, but we're going to deal with that in just a few moments. I am going through the stickers to see if there's anything else that I'd like to add. I feel like I still need some connection between the 2 sections of this layout. I really like the little banner. It's just busy. That banner's just got a little bit too much going on and started to detract from the other elements. I think take a picture is a good size, and it's certainly relevant to what we were doing there. We were stopping to take a picture of the alligator. And I've got more stickers. There's one with just some color to it rather than having any more words. Now, to fix the word stop being so far over, I'd already been thinking about putting some enamel dots on this, so I can add some of those to fill in that gap, because when I glued that down, it was glued. It wasn't going to move. I looked at several different kinds of enamel dots, and these from Michaels turned out to be the best match. I'm going to put some brads in here also in the middle of the bicycle wheels, or the spokes. Just add a little dimension and a little more authenticity to it. I started moving the brads around, and I found out that this particular brand of brads, or not brads, enamel dots, once you put those enamel dots down, they are sticky. So I made a little note on just some scrap paper here and wrote down very sticky. And then I'm just going to put that in with the pack so that the next time I use these, I'll know that I better be happy with where they're ready to go. And here's our sketch. I just added a little bit of extra layering in here. Added this. I kind of moved that down to sort of bring these 2 layers together. I did like the bicycle. I did kind of mean to turn it this direction and forgot, but it still works out. It's fine. It's just the L-O-O-K. I could have put a white border behind that. That would have really brought the letter together, but I think I'll know what that means without doing that. I like this extra sticker in here, and again it sort of brings everything together, and a lot of stuff in here because my photos didn't have a whole lot going on, so I could add a little bit more design around them. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate any comments and thumbs up and whatever that you have about the videos if you like what you see. So again, I hope you'll check out my blog and subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't already. There's some classes and things there and some PDFs with sketches from last year, as well as one where about not having the perfect photo. And this is one of those cases where we had great photos. There's not any with us in it, but we don't need us in it, of course, to tell this particular story. So in fact, if we were in there with Crocodile, it would have a whole different story. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today.